So, hello everyone, my name is Navaneeta and I'm here today with Samheeta Rao, who is an adoptive parent. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. This is the first time I'm doing a video, so quite excited about it. But more excited to be finally have my daughter home. So my name is Samheeta. I'm a lawyer by profession with about 13 years experience. In terms of adoption, we had made our application about 2 years ago, and about 4 weeks ago we had our daughter come home. So in terms of adoption experience, just 4 weeks old, and very excited about it.
Before you started, how did you prepare yourself for this adoption?
Okay, so I'm going to break that up into two parts because we had some sort of preparation before we made the adoption application 2 years ago. We've been trying to start a family for about 5 years before we finally decided to make the adoption application. It had always been on my mind to think about. I've always been thinking about adoption even through the time we were trying to have our own baby. We've gone through the whole host of infertility treatment and everything, and then it kind of became the last resort. But at that time also we had spoken to a lot of friends and family who had adopted, and listening to their very positive experiences along with the challenges and weighing it, we decided, okay, let's just make the application at that point. So we made the application in April 2017, and then kind of for 6 months I kept following it up and looking at the website and seeing our seniority. It was very disappointing to see it was moving very slowly, and then after 6 months I kind of let it just fall by the wayside, checking once in a month. Rewind to about January this year, and I realized, okay, you know what, we're coming to the late 300s and it's looking like it might happen this year. So then we restarted talking to other friends who had more recently adopted, or reaching out to even other parents who'd had challenges with their babies who had come home. Just kind of starting to think about, it might be later this year, what do we need to do, thinking about our house. Do we have enough, space? What are the adjustments we need to be thinking about, and things like that? What is the kind of support system? So I think that's the kind of preparation. But to be honest, when she came home, we felt completely unprepared, despite having like a big checklist and going and buying stuff and everything. So I think preparedness is very relative. I think when it actually happens, you feel completely unprepared.
And can I just ask how many referrals it took?
This was our first trip.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you face any sort of challenges or obstacles throughout this process?
I mean, I think honestly, the waiting is the biggest obstacle, right? Like 2 years is a really long time because, like I said, at the time we made the application, we were at that frame of mind where we were really, I think we had understood the whole process. We felt we had understood the process. We were emotionally ready to have a child in our life, and then we realized it's not happening. That, I think, the frustration and dealing with that disappointment is the biggest obstacle. Of course, I think paperwork is quite tedious, and it's just a mess because one agency tells you this, then the person who comes home to do the HSR told us a different thing. So I think that was more minor, and being lawyers, we're okay with paperwork. So that was just less of a challenge, but I think it was just the whole thing, and you kind of just felt frustrated because people are gaming the system. People are out there selling children or doing other things which are not really strictly legal, and there's really no point of looking at the seniority because you don't know, because I don't know Maneka Gandhi, or I don't know somebody in Kara, and I just gotta wait it out. So I think that dealing with that and getting patient was the most difficult thing for us.
Okay. And what was your family's reaction when you told them that you were considering adoption?
Oh, I mean, my side of the family is extremely supportive. Like, my father's always been very, very supportive about it. Even when we were having difficulty conceiving, he was like, why don't you guys just apply and for adoption? It's not a big deal. We are there to help you and all of that. And my husband's family as well, very supportive. I think they were just like, whatever makes you happy that's a good thing. I think after we've brought our daughter home, it's been like very, very, very welcoming reaction. I think even from people who I thought maybe a bit hesitant and who I thought were very conservative, it's been fantastic. Like, I think they're just so happy for us, and they're just so happy that we finally have a bigger family. So I think it's been a pleasantly good surprise.
And how did you prepare them in any way before you brought her?
Not really. I think immediate family, of course, we told them when we got the referral that we're going to go to Pune and see the baby, and then most likely we will bring her home at this whatever date we had decided. So I think they were just very helpful in offering things to send if they had things, and what are the things we need to pack, travel, things like that. But we didn't really give out bigger communication to the larger family. So I think it's just still happening. But immediate family, honestly, no, nothing, like very, very welcoming and very happy for us.
And when did you decide that it was ready to introduce your daughter to everyone?
I think some things, like when you take her out, you just meet people, it's there, right? Like you just have to introduce her. But otherwise, I think we were just like, we need to settle in with her and she needs to settle down with us. And if people call, then we say, what, this has happened, when the perennial question, what's up, we're like, yeah, something's up. So finally, that's when we tell people. Of course, some people you will call up. We did call up and inform them and things like that. But otherwise, honestly, it's just take it as it comes kind of reaction. Yeah.
Okay. And what are some of the initial struggles you faced when you brought her home?
I think the biggest thing was figuring out how she can be comfortable, because I think my biggest fear, and I still obviously it's just 4 weeks, but it's like, oh my god, I've got someone from a comfortable zone where they were, and I've brought her home, and I hope she's comfortable again. So I think the struggle is obviously hourly, daily, kind of like, oh, she's crying, what is it? Does she want food? Does she want sleep? Does she want this? Does she want that? So it's just constant guesswork. So I wouldn't really call it a struggle, but I think in terms of struggle, it's on a personal front for us as husband and wife. What is our equation? Like, that has completely changed. I think that one aspect we probably did not really assess and get prepared for. It was just like, okay, you know what, the baby's going to come and we're still going to continue the way it is. It's just not, right? Like, time is finite. There are only, 24 hours in a day, and of which, you're getting lesser sleep, so you're more sleepy through the other parts of the day. But so I think that is a little bit of a challenge, which we kind of need to just work through. And I guess it will get better as we get more time with our daughter. But also, I think struggles are, getting unrequested advice from everybody who comes to see her, saying, oh my god, you should do this, put this, go here, go to this temple. So I think just kind of taking a breath and saying, everybody's saying it in good spirit, and it's okay, what, it's fine. You can just listen through one ear and let go, so don't worry. Yeah.
Right. And how has your life changed since?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think she's become top priority for both my husband and me. And in terms of career, I've taken a break. So that's the biggest thing for me. Like, I don't think I've ever had a time where I've not worked fully. So that is there at the back of my mind that, how do I get myself back into a career and managing personal life as well. So that is one thing. The second thing is, my husband obviously he is at work, but he comes home in the evening, need to figure out how he can also spend enough time, build the bond with her as much as I'm able to. So kind of, trying to figure out ways in which he's also getting quality time with her, either early morning when she's awake and then in the evenings when he's back. Again, with the closer family as well, the equation has obviously changed a lot. People who we used to see once in like 2 months, now we're seeing more often. So things like that have changed. And I think, again, one big thing which I realized has changed is your privacy is gone. Because the minute you have a nanny in the house, like, your privacy is out of the door. So I think that getting my head around that was like a big issue for both of us. So that I think was one of the bigger changes in our life.
But you mentioned that you're currently on leave.
Yeah.
So were you granted paid maternity leave?
So I had actually quit my job last year in June. So for other personal reasons, I had taken a full break from my career. But I I am getting back to work. The plan was to join back on April 1st. I was going to join my husband's firm. So I've just deferred that. So it's not really paid leave. So it's just I've just continued my career break.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay. So about prospective parents, what are some of the things that prospective parents will have to consider before going for adoption?
Look, I think if you have your paperwork ready, one thing, just keep it ready. Understand fully from the agency when you're going after your first referral or whenever you get your referral. Just understand clearly what exactly you need to do, because I think you just get so caught up in the emotional thing. This legal procedural piece is really as important. Because I think each agency has their own procedures and their own set of logistics that they want you to follow, and unless that is followed, they may not even let you look at the baby or like grant you access to the baby. So I think once we realized, because we had everything in order and it just went off really smoothly, we were able to spend so much more time with our baby when we were at the agency. But I think you need to understand what is going to be your support system. So whether it's your family, daycare, what kind of support are you going to have? How are you going to actually the first few days seemed like were really critical in trying to understand, because also in my case, the baby was 6 months, so that was a good time because she was still not, didn't have any stranger anxiety and things like that. She came to us more willingly. But I think if you have older babies and things like that, you need to understand exactly what are the challenges. So be really clear on what are the issues that you have and what are things that you can't, like. So if you don't have support at home, you probably need to maybe ask the agency, can they spare somebody to come home with you for a few weeks until the baby is more comfortable with you and things like that. But I think the main focus for us was trying to build the bond with the baby from the first hours that she came home with us. So that seemed to be I think I would just tell parents that, so hold her longer, hold the baby longer. It's okay, and it's fine. I think you are not going to get everything right. I think the biggest advice I think give is that it's fine. She may cry, he or she may cry. It's okay. The babies cry, and I think one really very critical advice that somebody gave me is, it's okay. You will get embarrassed by your baby in a flight, in a train, in a public place. She's going to create a ruckus. You just have to deal with it. Okay, so stop. I think my husband and I used to be the kinds in a flight, if a baby comes and sits next to us, he'll be like, oh my God. So we are like, it's fine. Though there are going to be those kind of people. Babies cry. That's what they do. Just accept. I think that's one big takeaway that I think we found really comforting.